People, because of this topic, are afraid to speak up and speak out. So that's why I'm here. So let me get the ugly comments. Let me talk about it. Because you know what? I can take it. So, Doc, I don't understand. How could I have been running constantly for 2.5 months, watching what I'm eating, hit training once a week, and you're telling me I lost 5 pounds? And that's something that a lot of people have to realize. We have the same concerns and problems as everybody else. Not everything is because of our size. It's what we think about when we wake up in the morning. It's what we think about when we get dressed. It's what we think about when we leave the house. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Big Man, Big Problems podcast. My name is Julio, and I started this podcast to talk about the issues of being a big man. You know, one of the issues that we have in doing a podcast like this that I have learned so far
Mhm.
is that people, because of this topic, are afraid to speak up and speak out. People are afraid to go on tape or on camera and say, on tape, that's how old I am. Like we're still using reels of tape. There's some that do it. Uh, I can't help it though.
Know what
That's
you
like
mean.
that's like what I say, you know.
Yeah.
People are afraid to step in front of it because what's going to happen?
Well, people
People
like
are
this.
people are going to read it and they're going to make really, really horrible comments that are going to feed into what their fears are inside. So that's why I'm here. So let me get the ugly comments. Let me talk about it because you know what? I can take it. And something tells me I can respond.
This one isn't a negative.
Mm.
This one is, I had a similar experience. She told me she can't help me and I need meds. I need to go find another therapist, she said.
So this is responding to my podcast that I was talking about my first experience with a therapist, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. So I had an experience with a therapist. I was spiraling a little bit. Okay. So I was in a position where my mother has just diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I was training for the Chicago Marathon. And I was at that point 299 pounds when I started training for the Chicago Marathon. And I said, and by the way, I was weighed at Dr. Huizinga's office in Beverly Hills at that 299, I remember. And I came home and I told my trainer, I can't run a marathon at 299 pounds. That's crazy. And he goes, okay, so here's what we're going to do. And we got a marathon training program, right? Because you incrementally get up to different levels and, and running was not my thing, by the way. Biking, swimming, right? I float like a fish, right? Biking, my legs are strong, but running was never my jam. So it was hard for me to do that. But he also refused for me to only do cardio training. So Tony, my trainer, who I love, uh, made me come in the gym and do some kind of hit training at least once a week.
Mhm.
And then he put me on a diet, one of those diets where you drink a shake,
Yeah.
right, for breakfast and lunch and then a sensible dinner, right? One of
Yeah.
those things. So, and at that time, I wasn't real hip on weighing myself because the scale to me was something that bothered me quite a bit. So, really, I just went on how I felt. And so I did this and I was doing this for about 2.5 months. My longest training run at that point was 17 miles. Okay. So, I mean, I was hitting it
Long
hard
distance.
and I felt good, right? My clothes were starting to feel different. I felt great. And at that time, the show actually sent me all of my medical records.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but they just kind of package it up and say, here's all your stuff. So 2.5 months later, I could no longer keep up the training. I just couldn't do it. With my work schedule and everything else, it was too hard on me. So I decided to stop. And then I went to go see my doctor and I brought all my medical records and I say, hey, just take a look at this, make sure I'm not dying of anything, because they're probably not going to tell me. And so I gave it to him and then I weighed in and I was so anticipating this huge weight loss, like, I was so excited, and I went from 299 to 294. I wasn't expecting a 5, I was
Yeah.
expecting a 50, and that bothered me a bit, so I said, "Doc, I don't understand. How could I have been running constantly for 2.5 months, watching what I'm eating, hit training once a week, and you're telling me I lost 5 pounds?" So he sent me to an endocrinologist. He goes, "Maybe it's something to do with testosterone or with this or with that." And so I set an appointment a little over 3 weeks later. I went to the next appointment. She put me on the scale. I was 215,
What is it?
220, 219. It was whatever it was a 26-pound difference in a little over 3 weeks, and I sat there with my mouth open, and I looked at this very lovely endocrinologist, and I said, How does that happen? I I couldn't eat enough food to have 26 pounds in my stomach." And she had no answer. So I put together this team with a sports doctor, and I talked about this in the podcast, a sports doctor and a therapist and a nutritionist, and I did that for a while, and, I told the story of when she got really mad at me because I couldn't understand why I wasn't losing any weight, and I realized after it's because she thought I was lying. Like, they didn't believe me, but there was something going on that wasn't letting me lose weight, but they refused to believe it. So, the truth is, she was just a really shitty doctor. She was just a really shitty therapist. And honestly, she was the whole time, but I didn't recognize it. I've never done it
You
before.
had nothing to compare it to, so how
Yeah.
could you know?
So, a lot of emotions going into that, but when that happens to you guys, there's more than one doctor in the world, right? You
Yeah.
got a shitty therapist, you gotta recognize that early. If you're not feeling any better, if you're not going anywhere with it, go find a different therapist,
Mhm.
okay? Now, 10 years went by. Oh my god, 10 years, what am I talking about? 15 years went by, and, I find myself in a place where my life, was very it was going at a pace faster than I could handle, and I said to my wife, "I need to go into therapy," and she agreed, and I've been with a therapist now for 2 years, and I gotta tell you, this woman has helped me tremendously, and I don't go to her for an eating disorder, I don't go to her for weight loss, I go to her simply for life, and what that's done is brought me to a place now where I'm comfortable, where I feel okay with who I am. And I'm able to pick myself up and keep moving in a way that makes me okay. So, to whomever this commenter was, thank you for understanding what I went through. I understand what you went through. And if you guys don't have the right therapist, go find the right therapist. And by the way, therapy is great. Most of our issues when it comes to us being bigger people is not because we chose to do this. It's because we chose to make food more important in our lives than almost anything else. And we find comfort in that food. To take it away from us is like stabbing us in the heart. Like they're taking away the thing that makes you feel better. Well, if you're going to choose to do that, if you're going to choose to take some food away from you, then it really is a good idea to talk to somebody to figure out why you needed the food in the first place.
Alright, I got one. Being okay and saying your worth is the same from when you're fat to fit gives you no motivation to wanna be fit. You should feel like you're worth nothing if you're fat and worth everything when you're fit.
Wow, talk about needing therapy.
Mhm.
That gentleman or that lady, whoever wrote that, really, really needs a bunch of therapy. Why? What that says to me is I don't like fat people.
Yeah, that's, fat phobic, I fear.
That's 100% fat phobic, but why? What is it that we're doing to you that you find so offensive? Um, Listen, everyone can choose to make themselves better in some way. But what does better mean? Where do you start with that? physically. Now, are you sick? Like, is your doctor saying to you, "Look, you got high cholesterol, you got high blood pressure, you're borderline diabetic"? Now, if you don't actually go and try to do something about that, then who's the idiot in that scenario? You need to do something about that because if you let that continue, that's gonna stop your quality of life. That being said, if you're a bigger person, but you don't have high cholesterol, you don't have high blood pressure, you don't have diabetes, and you're able to be in the world and active, and you're contributing to society, and you're raising children, and you're helping out your brothers and sisters, not only your actual brothers and sisters, but your brothers and sisters in life. You're active in your church, your community, right? You're doing really good at your job. Then why is it an issue that you just happen to be big? Why are you, as another person out there who maybe, fitness is their addiction, have an issue with that person? That person doesn't hate themselves. The people that hate themselves are the ones that write comments about hating other people. Those are the people that hate themselves. Let me tell you something, I don't hate myself. I don't love everything I've done in my life. I don't think I've been a perfect person, but I 100% don't hate myself. Nor do I look at you in the gym working out and think, look at that guy. He's got no life. That's why he's in here. So don't hate yourself. Don't hate others because we don't hate you. So, one of the struggles with being a bigger person is no matter what happens to you in your life, it's actually blamed on your size. So you have a cold. Oh, well, you're not taking care of yourself. You got to eat better. Oh, my foot hurts. Well, you're putting too much weight on it, right? Oh, I'm struggling at work. Why do you think you're lazy? That's one of the issues with work. When you're a bigger person, people just automatically assume that you're lazy and you're not doing your job. These are all stereotypes in a way, and it's a hard thing to live with. I have a headache. Oh, it's because of your size. The reason I'm even doing this podcast, one of the things that propelled it to me is because I have this neurofibroma on my spine. So, what's a neurofibroma? It's just a big mass of nothing, right? It says, people get them like neurofibroma one or two, they get these bumps on their bodies, they get them removed, whatever the case may be. It's completely benign. It's doing nothing to hurt me. It just happens to be large and it just happens to be on my lumbar, which does affect my mobility. But at this point, it's really inoperable and I have to live with it. But it went undiagnosed for a decade or more because of my size, because some fat phobic doctor or several just assumed, oh, you're putting pressure on your spine. That's the problem. So why not look at it? Why? Because I'm fat, you're not allowed to look and see that it's something else? Can it be something else? And as it turned out, it was. So that amongst obviously a lifetime of other issues is what prompted me to do a show like this so that maybe doctors watch this and you got a patient who's a bigger guy and complaining about the issue. Maybe the issue is not his weight. Maybe he actually has an issue. And that's something that a lot of people have to realize. We have the same concerns and problems as everybody else. Not everything is because of our size. Some things are, but not everything. And that's a hard thing to live with as a big person. And that's the kind of stuff we hold inside and we kind of want to scream. Okay. But how are you going to scream? Because the people saying it are the people who love you. Right? The
Yeah.
people saying it are your parents and your spouses and your kids and your friends. How do you scream at them? Well, you don't. You know what? Make a comment to me and let me scream at them through this, and then let them watch the podcast so
Yeah.
that maybe they understand what's going on and they look at you just slightly differently next time. And when they say your foot hurts, they go, well, why don't you put your foot up? Let's take a look at it. Let's see what's going on.
Okay, one more. As a big person, my constant thoughts are not about food. The thoughts are about harassment and access. Will I fit in the airplane seat? Will anybody say that I'm disgusting because I'm fat? Or will they act as though I am? Will I be able to buy beautiful clothes that fit properly, etc., etc.?
That is such a common thought with all of us, but what it is it's a thought. It's buried in our psyche. It's what we think about when we wake up in the morning. It's what we think about when we get dressed. It's what we think about when we leave the house. It's what we think about when we're out to dinner with friends or coworkers and it's time to order your meal. Or have you ever been to a buffet and you worry about what everyone else is looking at when you pick something and put it on your plate? That is so common. I said in a podcast, just a little bit off the cuff, that as big people, what do we worry about food? And I was on the topic of food at the time. So I didn't mean to imply that that's the only thing that we worry about because it's not. We do worry about food, but we worry about food much, much more secretly than we do about other things. But leaving the house in the morning sometimes can be hard. And that is why I like to talk about the emotional, aspect of how we feel. Are there people out there who are looking at you like you're disgusting? Are there people out there who don't care about accommodating your particular size or whatever? Yes, there are. There are. And you know what? There's bigots and there's racists and there's homophobes and there's what's that thing they call men that are really anti-women?
Uh,
I'm not that, so I don't know the word, right? But
Chauvinists
yeah, that are sexist or
in the
chauvinist or
manosphere.
yeah, there's always gonna be those people out there, and we can't stop those people from being who they are, but let me tell you what we can do. We can change how we feel about it. So we can decide to wake up in the morning and put on something that makes us feel confident. We can go into a situation where we're dining and then find the right seating for ourselves. I just went to a restaurant this weekend with my wife and they wanted to sit us in a booth. And I said, I'm sorry, I need something other than a booth and other than a high top. And they just accommodated without questioning or anything else. I mean, you just need to stand up for yourself. As far as finding something cute to wear, you're always gonna find something cute to wear. It's like anybody else, you just gotta put in the effort to do this. You look at these fit people, right, who are dressed nice, and for some reason we think like they just wake up in the morning in all the right jeans and all the right shirts. No, they go through the same things we do. It just doesn't seem as obvious to us as them. So the thing is, you just have to care enough about yourself to put the effort forward to look nicer. Nobody cares what you order at lunch, right? Nobody at the buffet is watching your plate. You feel that way, but some of that isn't happening, okay? But what they will notice in you is the confidence. They will notice in you your strut. So what really needs to change is not the outside world, because we're never gonna change the outside world. They're gonna be who they're gonna be, but we can change how we feel about ourselves. So get up, find the right dress, get dressed, go out there, have lunch, just live your life. That's what I would say to this lovely woman who commented for me, and keep commenting because you're awesome. So take a minute, guys, and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and 100% put comments in there because we're going to start making comments. We're going to start reading comments and we're going to go over them because really that's the whole point of the show.